Hi everyone and welcome to this new video here today on the channel. Today I have Jacques Van der Wilt with me, the CEO and founder of DataFeedWatch, feed management software. Jack, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, so as I said, you are the CEO of DataFeedWatch, probably I would say one of the most popular, if not the most popular feed management tool out there for, Google Shopping and all kinds of other networks. Can you just briefly describe like what DataFeedWatch is and why a viewer that might watch us here right now might actually or should go to your site and check it out as a tool?
Yeah, data feed optimization, what I would say is the feed is the foundation of every successful advertising campaign. So if you're advertising, for example, on Google Shopping, PMax, regular shopping campaign, it's based on the data that's in the feed that you just sent to the Google Merchant Center. So that data has to be like, complete, correct, and everything else. So you will not be able to build a successful campaign if the data going in isn't good enough. DataFeedWatch was founded more than 10 years ago, right after Google started with Google Shopping. And we're totally geared towards, retailers being able to optimize, create and optimize their data feeds in every possible way, in a very easy to use way, so that without having to go to the tech guys or anyone else, every marketer can just create and optimize superb feeds to send to the Google Merchant Center and other channels. So yeah, you don't have a data feed tool yet, you should seriously consider it, because you are losing money if you're not optimizing your feed.
Yeah, totally agree. And we use DataFeedWatch with a bunch of our clients, and I can just say it's a very, very robust solution that has a ton of features that others don't. So especially when you have a lot of products, I would say when you have like 3 products or something, technically you can do it with a Google Sheet or something like that. But the moment you have a lot of products with materials, colors, you name it, I think DataFeedWatch really does an amazing job in connecting the dots and optimizing everything. So that's pretty good stuff. Yeah, when you say feed optimization, or when you say that data quality is so important, which I totally agree on, what would you say are some like low-hanging fruits right now? So someone is watching, maybe a small online store, 1 or 2 people, no dedicated like feed or product manager. What would you say are some relatively easy wins and low-hanging fruits to really optimize your feed and get the best results out of it, essentially?
Yeah, I could talk for 2 hours on this, but I have my personal top 3, and number 1, it's the easiest one: fix the problems in your feed. Right, every feed has, like you said, the Google Merchant Center, you get disapprovals. Even if you don't, you may be missing colors for some of your products. So just fix it. Spend some time, and again, with a tool like DataFeedWatch, it's not going to take you a week, it's going to take you an hour to optimize every field in your feed, and then you are spot on. So just fix whatever problems that you're having in your feed. No disapprovals means, you will be able to to advertise every product in your feed. Then, if the problems are out of the way, optimize the key fields, right? So the key fields are like title, one of the most visual parts of the ad. We'll talk about titles some more. You want to optimize your images, right? If you got the wrong image for the right product, the wrong color, what have you, you got to fix that, because the most visual part of the ad is actually the image. You want to take a look at your description, and you want to create custom labels. Either so you can break down your PMax campaigns in like 3-4 different campaigns, or if you run a regular shopper campaign, to make sure that you are bidding more, for example, on products that are on sale or what have you. So the 4 most optimized fields on average for every, let's say, e-commerce advertisers are title, custom labels, images, and description. So if nothing else, focus on that. And then lastly, the 3rd one, ask yourself, now I don't want to quote Clint Eastwood, but you got to ask yourself this one question. and it's not, if you're lucky punk, it is, do you really want to advertise all of your products? And you think about it a little harder. The answer must be no. No, I don't want to advertise all of my products because currently 2/3 of all of our customers is actually excluding products from their data feed. So, which means essentially they're not advertising for it. And the key reason is some products are more profitable than other ones, right? So some products you will actually lose money if you sell a single unit. But even, so you exclude those. But even then, if you have like 20% of your products driving 80% of your revenue, it means that there's like lots of products that are, they're sort of profitable, but not really. So if you exclude those as well, all your budget will go to the products that actually drive most of the value for your company. So think about that. You gotta think about that a bit harder. You need a bit more data, but there's gold to be found in excluding products.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, what we normally do, but it absolutely makes sense, is we push all the products. And then, as you mentioned, with custom labels, we control whether the margin is high and low. And if the margin is low, we simply put an extremely tiny bit on it. But you're right, there are definitely products and categories where you do not even want them. You just want them out of Merchant Center in the first place, probably. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned images and titles being among the most important attributes. What we normally say is that the title is most responsible for, like, your search volume, because it influences like the keywords that you use, etc. Whereas the image is the main CTR driver. Would you say this is the case? Like, is the image by far the most important when it comes to CTR?
No, I always struggle between deciding which one's more important. Indeed,
Right.
the image is the first thing you see. It will drive CTR, but the title. Okay, let's talk about title just a little bit more. Why is title, in my mind, the number one field to optimize? People that are looking for jeans, sometimes they Google jeans. I want jeans, right? But more often they will Google something. I want a Levi's men's blue jeans size 32, because they know what they want, right?
Right.
And then if your title contains those attributes, then Google's going to say, hey, he wants all of this, and I got an ad here that is offering all of that. So I should serve this ad, right? So if you've enriched your titles, you're going to get more impressions, first driver. Then if your ad is out there, and your image is good, then the customer, the prospect, is more likely to click your ad because it's exactly what he was looking for, higher CTR. And then when he finally makes it to your page, he's more likely to buy because, after all, it already was a match made in heaven the moment he saw your ad. So more impressions, higher CTR, higher conversion rate, triple whammy for enriching your title with the correct attributes.
Yeah, super powerful. And when, let's say we have a very optimized title, maybe also a very optimized image, or everything optimized, what would you say are some sort of performance improvement levels that you can expect? Is it like you might get 5% more impressions, or is it 20 or 30? Or, of course, it depends, but can you give a rule of thumb what a very optimized feed can really do?
We have a use case of a sporting goods customer in the US, and they spend a lot of time on title optimization by really going into the search term report to see what are people actually looking for if they buy, for example, a baseball glove, right? And they found, they were doing well with baseball gloves. They were selling plenty of them, as baseball glove, and maybe the brand and the size, whatever, and that was it. But they found that people actually looking for, a glove for themselves or for the kid. It needs to be leather or something else, left-hand throw or right-hand throw. And they realized, man, so this is what a customer has in mind, and we never considered it. And then they started adding terms like that for baseball gloves. And their traffic went up by 250%. Now, I always tell people, don't believe crazy percentages. It's probably a lie. But in this case,
in this case, it's not.
Yeah. Right. So if you have, like, let's say a pretty lame title, and you're able to add not just attributes like color or size or something like that, product type, but really specific search terms that you know people are looking for, the impact can be incredible. So, the only reason why people are not doing it, because they think, well, I got like 5,000 products, it's just too much. And, my answer is always the same. Just pick the 10 best selling products. Do it for those. That's probably already 25% of your revenue, right? And then maybe you should do like a generic search term investigation for the 5 best-selling product types. There goes another 1 hour, right? And lastly, it's not important if you finish it that you get search terms for every single one of your 5,000 products. It's important you get started today. You spend like an hour per week, and you do it in the right order. And you will instantly start seeing the impact of improved titles. Take a year, because within a few weeks you have already will have optimized titles for, let's say, products representing 50-60% of your revenue.
Right. So essentially starting with the lowest hanging fruits, and not putting too much pressure on yourself that you have to optimize everything, but then do it step by step by step from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Don't make yourself crazy. Put your time and your money on the products that matter.
Right. And I would expect, like when you say, for example, you have a 5,000 product store, as you mentioned, I would assume the feed optimization routine is a lot different than if you have like 3, right? What would you say, what are really the differences in the approach from optimizing a 10,000 SKU store and a 5 or 10 or 20 SKUs store? What are things that you can do really differently there?
It's a very difficult question, because I think there are differences driven by the fact that the smaller e-commerce retailer with few products has less time and also less experience in optimizing feeds, and therefore he may just do a couple of things. Whereas a shop with 100,000 products is probably run by a larger company, and they'll spend more time and they'll do better things. But in essence, whether you optimize a 3-product feed or a 300,000 product feeds, you should be doing the same things, right? And focus on title first and exclude unprofitable products and what have you. Because a product is a product is a product. You may have 300,000 products, but some of your products are offered by 10 other retailers that may have, that may be small retailers.
Right.
So the game is the same. It's your ability to put manpower and brain power into it.
Right. And that's probably then where a tool like DataFeedWatch comes in, because it can do some of these things at scale, right? Where you can say product title plus color plus material plus that equals the title now. And that's, I would guess, a fairly optimized title already when you have all the key features and attributes in the title, right? That would be a good start.
Exactly. And it's going to take you 30 seconds to create a single rule to enrich all of your titles. And then whether DataFeedWatch processes that for like 30 products or 300,000 products doesn't really matter to you as the retailer.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's 20 seconds.
That's a really good start, I think, for sure. And when we sort of do it backwards now, so we talked about the most important attributes, image, title, etc. Are there any where you would say, of course, the more attributes, the better, but are there any where you say, hey, they contribute so little to overall performance, if it's actually time consuming to set them up, you do not bother, or, is everything important to some degree?
I have 2 rules in life, right? The one is less is more. I'm a big fan of less is more. There's just one exception, and that's when rule number 2 comes in. And it is, if you optimize a data feed, more is better, right? Sure,
Right.
Some fields have a bigger impact than others. Like, so title has a bigger impact on performance than description. They're both important, but you got to choose, go for title. And and the relevancy of certain attributes depends on product type, right? So color or size is like super important for apparel, right? Shoes, whatever, right? If you're selling books, color and size don't really matter. Then again, if you sell books, maybe there's like an additional field that says whether it's a paperback or an ebook, right? So you're the retailer, you know your products, you know what is important. But in general, more is better. Every attribute contributes, It doesn't stop at I have color and size and product type and something else in the title. Even when it's not there or when it's even there, the attributes in the feed enable Google to understand what you're selling. And if Google, so first of all, Google sees the search query, so they know what you're looking for. Even better yet, most of the cases, they know who's searching, right? Google knows everything. And then they need to match the searcher and the search query with a bunch of ads. So which ad are they going to show? Google has to make sure that they're showing the most relevant ads, maybe also the most profitable ads, but certainly most relevant ads, because if they do not show relevant ads, people are going to go to another search engine. So the more data you give Google, the better they will be able to match the search query with the product ad. And if the match is good, it will get you a higher conversion rate and a lower CPA. So that's why, sure, not all attributes are created equal. But put in the additional 15 minutes, and get everything in your feed that you possibly have in your store and optimize it. It's an excellent investment, and we're not talking about days or hours of work, right? That's why you use a tool like DataFeedWatch, because it's simple and it will get you going in 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, very powerful. I mean, those are some pretty good life rules, especially for Google advertisers, I think. So should probably live by that. Yeah, you mentioned like CTR, and it comes, CTR just keeps coming back when you talk about feed optimization, of course. What would you say are some sort of the key metrics that brands should like really measure when it comes to their product feed optimization? Because ultimately ROAS is all that matters pretty much, but of course you have to look at secondary metrics as well. You cannot judge everything only by ROAS all the time with every single step, right? So what would you say are some really important metrics here?
Well, not surprisingly, the first metric I would look at after optimizing your data feed is the feed quality, right? And so in data feed, we actually measure that, right? So we run a feed review. We check everything you just optimized in your feed against what Google is expecting. And then we'll give you a grade, right? So you got an 8.7 grade for your feed. It's pretty good. We'll still tell you how to get to 10, right? Because your data need, more data is better. It needs to be complete. It needs to be correct. So that's the first thing I would look at. Second thing is after you upload it, you're going to look in the Google Merchant Center, GMC, for disapprovals or anything else, right? So start with data quality. And then, ROAS is indeed the most overriding metric, but look at ROAS per product, per channel, because that matters. Because if you want to exclude unprofitable products, or create a custom label to make sure they're in like very low bid PMAX campaign or whatever, then you may be selling 10 shoes, but it's like 3 that are really profitable. 4 that are mediocre, and 3 are running you a loss. So if you just look at shoes as a category, like, yay, I'm making money. You look at Google as a channel and say, yay, I'm making money. No. Per product, per channel, and then you really know where the money is, and then you can start drilling down and even optimizing your feed to make sure that ROAS for the whole will be optimized by maximized even by looking at the ROAS per product per channel. And the 3 very profitable shoes on Google may not be the 3 profitable shoes on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Often it's related, but it's not necessarily the same.
Totally. And would you say there are other like sort of mistakes or misconceptions like that, like just generalizing too much or something like that? Do you see other mistakes and misconceptions in regards to like management, feed optimization, like across the board, things that just keep coming up?
Yeah, there's a couple that I consistently see. And number one, data feed optimization is for the tech team. No, it is not. It should not be. The tech guys, I'm sure your tech team is awesome. But the tech team doesn't understand marketing, doesn't understand Google Ads, Google Shopping, and what have you. To me, I said earlier, the feed is the foundation of the campaign, right? So the right hand should be optimizing the campaign. The left hand should be optimizing the feed, and together, they're like totally synced. You have a strategy for your Google Ads campaigns, for your Google Shopping campaign, and the feed needs to follow, needs to drive it, and maybe the other way around. So it's super important that the online marketer himself is doing the data feed optimization. Do not give it to tech. We invented DataFeedWatch because people were fed up going to tech. They didn't understand it, never had time, took a week to just add color to the title and what have you. So keep there, that's like number one. Number two is Google and Facebook. That should be enough, right? I'm Google, Facebook, we're good. That's not necessarily wrong, but I would say Google and Facebook is a good start, right? And they are indeed the number one and the number two channel globally. But go for something else. Now, we spoke earlier about optimizations for small shops and large shops. So there's one other thing that is, that's maybe the biggest difference between the two, and it is the average retailer. And this is globally, right? We have this multi-channel marketing report. We did an analysis of like almost 20,000 shops in like more than 60 countries to get a view on what's happening in the land of e-commerce across the globe. And we found that the average retailer advertises on 2.7 channels, let's say almost 3 channels, right? The small retailer, the one with like 500 products or less, advertises on 2 channels. That's probably Google and Facebook. The large advertiser, 200,000 products or more, advertises on 14 channels.
Wow.
The big guys advertise on 7 times more channels than the small guys, because the big guys have more money, more manpower, more brain power. And the brain power also tell them, if we advertise on 2 or on 5, we're still missing out on a big audience that is somewhere else, that's on a different channel. So we should get there as well. So I wouldn't advise a small retailer to advertise on 14 channels. It's trying to get started with Google and Facebook. But then ask yourself, okay, what could be a third channel, right? And try it out. Creating a feed for the third channel is going to take you like 5 minutes in DataFeedWatch, piece of cake, and then try it out. And if it works, up your budget. If it doesn't work, ask yourself, okay, so maybe I shouldn't try a comparison shopping engine. Maybe you should try an affiliate network, or maybe you should do retargeting. So, again, don't go crazy, do one step at a time. But if you're doing Google and Facebook, you're going to be, you miss out on traffic and visitors and sales that you would otherwise get.
Right.
And then the last, let's say, mistake that we see across the board is set and forget, right? So people connect their stores to DataFeedWatch. We download all the data. We enable them to create a data feed for Google Shopping. And you go like, yep, good. DataFeedWatch will refresh my data every day, and that's all I need. No, again, you definitely need that for starters. But you should always be optimizing. You should have, not necessarily every day, but you have a strategy. You wanna create custom labels that will enhance your strategy. You want to take a peek every once in a while at where you're making money, where you don't. And you want to, like, tweak the products or product types that you exclude. So set and forget is always wrong. Set it, don't forget it. Just come back every day, every week. Again, the guys that are doing 14 channels, the large retailers, they're back almost every day. There's always more to be won. There's so little time. So for the smaller retailers, focus on what's important and take small steps forward, and you will still get there. Focus on what's important.
Yeah, extremely helpful. I mean, we're also probably guilty of the second, which is the number of channels. So we as a Google Ads agency, of course, we were super focused on that and Bing. But I think you really opened my eyes a little bit when it comes to recommending clients like, hey, let's probably look into this and that channel. It sounds like an absolute no-brainer to just say, we have the feed, let's put it to yet another channel. And if it makes an extra 5% in revenue or 3 or 10, whatever it might be, it's not that much additional work. So it seems, exactly. Really interesting. That's really something that we didn't look into enough, I think. Cool. Yeah, you have been in feed management, feed optimization now for well over a decade, if I'm not mistaken, right? You've been doing this for a very long time, absolute expert in this field. What would you say are some of the latest trends? So you've seen a million things go in and out over the years, probably. Are there any latest trends that you really observe in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, especially now that we're doing a multi-channel marketing report every year, we can literally see trends, right? So I already mentioned how there's large retailers with 40 channels and small retailers with 2. In general, we saw that between 2022 and 2023, the average number of channels went down from 3.1 to 2.7. That is not a decision I would recommend, but that's the fact. Probably budget cuts, inflation, economic challenges, but that's something that we see. In the US, it went down even more from 3.1 to 2.3. But that's clearly a trend of the last year. Another trend that we're seeing is that search, almighty Google, is beginning to lose market share to social, right? So search had 92% of all feeds, and it went down to 84, where social went up from 54% to 57%. So that means Google is still the boss, right? In the end of advertising channels, but something's beginning to move here. And a related trend, a trend that I think is very much involved here is that TikTok is the runner up. So in 23, we've seen 2 times more channels going to TikTok for apparel products, and for health and beauty, even 5 times more, right? So all of us, even if in advertising, we're just flipping on the iPhone all the time because it's anyway, you know what I mean, right? So the advertising is going there. Just the other day I was reading an article on now that TikTok is working on implementing a marketplace. Are they going to take on Amazon? I don't know, but TikTok definitely is trending, and it's causing social to take a bigger share at the expense of search. And the third trend that we see is that discounting your products is it already was important in 22 and 23. It was even more important. So let me ask you something, Marco. What do you think the percentage of products is that's being discounted on average globally? What percentage of products is on sale? Pick a number.
Right. Knowing that many stores put a lot of their things on sale like all the time, I would say think it's quite high, but let's say 20%.
Yeah. It's even more. I had the same reasoning, and then first time I saw wow, so last time it was 27%. This year it was 31%. So almost a third of all products is on sale, right? it depends per industry. So, this year furniture was like the number one, almost half the products was like on sale. But what we're also seeing is that the average discount value also went up, and is now 35%, right? So almost a third of the products is on sale, and the discount that you're getting on average is around, a third as well. So yeah, discounting is a key strategy, maybe even more so with price sensitivity of consumers going up. But hey, if you're not discounting yet, you should consider it. Just bear in mind, discounting has to be more than, oh, I'll just do some discounts on my website, my web shop, and we're good, right? Don't discount. Create a discounting strategy where you know which products to price down and to put on sale. How are you going to promote those products with a custom label? How are you going to retarget for the products that actually are on sale, that were on sale recently and were recently visited by prospects? So you create multiple actions around discounting to make it successful and to make sure that the money that you like lose because of discount, you earn it back twice by having a smart strategy and selling more.
Yeah, really helpful because I think many people, as you said, they do discounting in a very sort of non-planned way. They put everything on sale all the time in some way. Sometimes it works, but having a discounting strategy, I think, really matters. That's something that much more brands should do, especially also like Black Friday and things like that, right? They put everything on sale 80%, they lose a ton of money and call it a win. So
Yeah.
Cool. When it comes to like other trends, so you mentioned TikTok, social being one of them, like capturing more and more market share. Do you see other things emerging specifically when it comes to shopping ads, maybe Google Ads in general, but particularly shopping ads? I would think AI, ChatGPT, etc., being one of them, more people using that instead of search. Do you see trends emerging here soon?
Well, I think that we'll see trends left and right, but I think AI is going to be the game changer. It will change. Anyway, we've read so much about AI in general in society and what have you, but AI is not coming. AI is already here. Most of you people watching are running a PMax campaign in Google. What do you think? What do you think that is? That is AI. And it's only going to get better. PMax, for starters, wasn't very good a couple of years ago. And advertisers tried it, they abandoned it, but Google really turned it into something that apparently works, right? Because everyone's flocking to PMax because it gets like better and better and better results. And there's not a lot of time left that you need to optimize those campaigns. So PMax and the likes, and not just at Google, is going to be a big change in the way we work. Maybe not so much a big change in the results, because if we're all going to PMax, we're all shooting with the same gun, right?
Right.
But nevertheless, it's a huge trend. But something else. Now we spoke, for example, about images, right? How images are like the key visual part. It will drive your CTR and what have you. You got to have good images. And if your images are just not good, they're just not good. And you're missing out. So with like 5,000 products, you're gonna call the photographer, make him come over for, not for a day, for a week. You have like a few models ready because you're gonna show a jersey. You're gonna show a jersey on a human being, right? Because that is way more likely to induce clicks than just at the product itself. And that's a disaster. No one wants to do that, right? But now with increasingly you see AI-driven tools that will just create photographs, images, product images on the fly, in the right setting with the right quality and what have you. So optimizing your images is going to be super easy in the very near future. And if you're images are currently bad or not good enough, that's a very small step to take then to fix that problem. And then lastly, of course, we're going to see AI in data feed optimization as well, right? DataFeedWatch enables retailers in a very simple way to create and optimize data feeds. But if we sprinkle a little AI on top of that, it's going to be even better. So yeah, AI is already here. AI is here to stay. And we'll see that basically, us as advertisers on Google Shopping and other channels, optimizing data feeds, we'll see it in everything that we do.
Right. And I would think if we all have access to the same tools, as you said, it's probably like the details that really make it different, and the inputs as well. So you mentioned PMax. A lot of our clients use it, some don't. It really depends. But if everyone uses PMax, it really comes down to like how you use it in conjunction with the rest and how high the data quality is that comes through, right? And that's where, of course, we look back to DataFeedWatch. Everyone can set up a PMax campaign, but not everyone can set up like a fully optimized product feed from A to Z, or, well, everyone could technically do it, but not everyone wants to do it. That's probably the better way to put it. So that's what it then maybe comes down to again, right? The inputs, the creatives, etc.
Absolutely, the inputs are key. And PMax is pretty much still a black box. It has no buttons to push, no levers to tweak. The only thing you can do to optimize your PMax campaigns is optimize the data feed.
Right. Especially, or at least if it's product focused, right? You have the asset-based ones, but with the product ones completely. And in fact, I do not really recommend the product only. I then say, look at shopping, where you still need the product feed and everything, but using PMax with product only kind of defies the purpose of PMax, because the purpose is having like assets across all networks, etc. But that's a topic for another day. Couldn't agree more. I say that all the time. But when we notice now all these things, you have given us a whole bunch of inputs, both in terms of like sort of what DataFeedWatch can do, feed management optimization in general. If we can sort of boil it down to a few like key things that DataFeedWatch really helps you with when it comes to optimization, can you give us like a list or a description? If you are, an e-commerce store, this is where DataFeedWatch can help you the most. That's why it is for you. That's why you should try it, especially in the upcoming years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me preset that by saying that we've been in the market for more than 10 years. So, by now we know what we're doing, right? We are optimizing data feeds for more than 20,000 online stores on like 2,000 channels in like 60 countries. So we know our way around, and whatever you need, we'll have it in our tool. We have customers from like the small Shopify merchant with like 500 products to customers like Adidas in like, I don't know, 40, 50 countries, dealers, whatever, right? So we have everything across the board. And, the small and the large customers like DataFeedWatch because, first of all, they understand that the feed is foundation. They understand that with DataFeedWatch, it is really easy to make whatever changes. You don't need to know a lot deeply about data feed requirements for every single channel. We have a template-based approach. So, basically you cannot go wrong. And as we commented earlier, you can optimize your title, enrich your title in 30 seconds by creating a rule, where you have like 5,000 or 500,000 products, right? Then we're specialized in Google, Facebook, advertising channels in general, and marketplace, like Amazon. And I think the hidden gem that you'll find if you sign up to DataFeedWatch is that we have awesome support. Awesome support means that we have live chat. It's around from like, European time, 8 in the morning till midnight. The average response time is like less than 30 seconds. And it's not technical support, right? Our customers hit the chat button because they want to enrich their title. They're not sure how to do it. We'll just help them out right away. So we're taking the customers by the hand with support, with onboarding calls. We even have a feed factory that will just create the feeds for you. So it's not just a tool. It's a service to create better data feeds on an ongoing basis for you. as a retailer.
Right.
We have a free trial. You can sign up for free for 2 weeks. See for yourself. Seeing is believing.
Right, and this is not an ad, but I can really say that what you just said about the support is really true. So as I said in the beginning, we use DataFeedWatch with a bunch of our clients, especially like larger 7, 8-figure brands. And I remember one case specifically where we had like a major issue with, we had so many countries, all different currencies, different shipping rates, times, etc., you name it. And I was optimizing and managing their feed, and there was some technical issues that I really didn't understand what was going on. And I literally asked support. 5 minutes later, they were like, hey, you have, map this field, do it like that, XYZ, do this. And I was like, okay, and it worked. So I can really speak to that. That's really cool stuff. And what I also really like about the tool is how you like really map everything in a very visual way. So you have this visual editor and you like click things together and you say, hey, color, take this, and it's very, very easy to understand. You're not operating like in a database or something with 10 million cells. It's very visual, like almost drag and drop kind of style. So that's really cool, actually.
Now, our criteria is right, whatever we build, whatever we offer to our customers, if my mother can't understand it, it's just not good, right? And
Right.
you can understand how old my mother is.
Well, that's a very good philosophy to design a tool with. So really cool stuff. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks a lot for all the inputs, Jacques. It was extremely insightful, extremely helpful. I learned a few things for sure. I hope some of the viewers here today as well. Definitely check out DataFeedWatch, everyone. I put some links here in the description as well. And yeah, if there's anything else you would like to share with us, Google Ads, shopping, feed-wise, or something else, who knows? Feel free to let us know.
Absolutely. For now, I'd say your minds are full. There's more on the blog. So for now, Marco, I say I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for having me. And to you and to all the viewers, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas too, Jacques. And maybe we'll speak soon again at some point when you're at 30,000 merchants, maybe.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.